All right, everybody. Jason Sloan with Furtado Law Solutions. We're here live again. We got Jose Ornelas joining us week 3 for
Hi, Jason.
marketing. We got Ty Jury with Ingage. How's it going, Ty?
Doing great. Thanks for having me here, Jason.
Yeah. All right. So you're kind of your marketing piece is we're kind of jumping around the first two parts. We're kind of at the beginning, and next week we're gonna be with Just Share. So they're kind of like once you're, and that's a beginning one also with their video stuff, and your stuff has some videos and other stuff, right? But that it's more in-home presentations, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So give us a little bit of background on you. Business, personal, where'd you grow up, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, actually, I'm originally from Senegal in West Africa. I moved to the States when I was about 10 and grew up in Midwest in Wisconsin. Spent the majority of my time there. So that's a short background in terms of where I'm from. I go back and forth between what I still call home and my new home here all the time. But my journey through home improvement actually started a number of years ago. Worked with a company called Sears Home Improvement out in the East Coast, and that kind of brought me into this space. So very familiar with presenting in the home with a software tool and going through the price presentation and everything with a customer, and now able to share that same experience with other contractors that are using Ingage.
Okay.
Okay.
Sweet. And then so how long have you been with Ingage?
I've been with Engage for a little bit less than a year. Engage actually is a company that started about 11 years ago doing sales presentations for the pharmaceutical industry. And about a little over 4 years ago, we came into the home improvement space and really have found our niche here in terms of providing great value to the customers that are using us today.
Okay. And is the platform only on Apple for iPads, or are you guys planning on going elsewhere? Or Apple's where it's at for you guys.
No, so on computer or laptop, we support both platforms, Mac and Windows. On tablet devices, we support iPad. Otherwise, the newer versions of the Chromebook are usable as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Sweet.
Not
Sweet.
not completely lost there for you, Jason.
Well, like we were talking about before, and I was making Jose and me were talking earlier today. He's like, I can't write estimates on Exactimate on this, and I'm like, yeah, just online. So part of the reason we like the desktop on some of the stuff is when the internet can go out every once in a while, you can still work, or limited internet, you know, it can still work. So,
Yeah, well,
uh,
the beauty about Engage with it being cloud-based is you really only need that internet access the first time to download your presentations. From there, you're completely offline. And I know I've been in places where, I'm at a customer's home in the middle of nowhere. I don't have internet connectivity, but I don't need it for the Engage presentation to work.
gotcha,
Oh, great.
gotcha.
What do you? Oh, so Ty, what do you do when you're not working?
When I'm not working, I'm a huge soccer fan, so any team pretty much that's playing on TV, you'll probably find me watching that. My favorite team happens to be Chelsea. I'm a diehard English Premier League fan, but that's what I do the majority of my time.
Okay, and you told me that you were from Senegal, right? Did you
Yeah,
watch
that's where I'm
them
originally from.
winning?
Yeah, that was fun. Finally got a chance to get our first star. Won the African Nations Cup against Egypt in a very very hard final match. So that was fun, and got a chance to celebrate that for sure.
Ah, awesome, awesome.
Nice. So, who? I mean, who's your market? Obviously, contractors, but I mean, we're in an age where we're going from. There's a lot of contractors, especially on our end. We're dealing with guys that don't have CRMs or barely getting them and stuff. So is your major market like people that are already using technology, or is it people that are going from paper into the other? Or is it a kind of a mix?
Yeah, it's a mix of both. The way that I can best position it is for a contractor that's relatively small and is looking to really differentiate him or herself from the competition. Engage allows them to look bigger than they are. It's a very polished presentation tool. Either themselves or the one or two sales reps that they have going out into the field and interacting with customers. Now they have a way to making sure that every customer has the same experience with their brand, right? For folks that are larger, have a sales force underneath of them that are doing a ton of appointments on a daily basis, we now allow some of those maybe newer or sales reps that aren't performing as great as your higher closers. We now allow everybody to have the same tools to be able to perform at the same rate. So both, yes, large and small companies. We've also got a number of manufacturing relationships wherein we create content for their end users who are their contractors who are trying to sell their product to their customer as well.
Okay. So say I'm Jason Sloan Roofing and I got a couple sales guys, and we say we're certified with GAF and also certainty, but we also, because of the market we're in, we have to be able to showcase a lot of others that maybe come up. Somebody goes, oh, I love Owens Corning, oh, I want IK or whatever, just because somebody told them it, and it
Yep.
happens. Is there a setup? How many brands of roofing do you guys cover right now?
So the beauty with Engage is, the basis of every conversation, I believe, starts the same, right? You're going to walk into the home, do a little bit of rapport building with the customer so they feel comfortable chatting with you. And then when you sit down, you'll walk through, who you are as an individual, as a company, all the services and products that you provide and offer. And
Mhm.
then as you branch off into your specific brand that you're trying to sell for that customer, all of those brands can actually be housed within Engage. So think of this as you've got a main platform for your entire sales presentation. And then within there, you have a link to GAF, you have a link to Owens Corning, a link to Atlas, wherein all of those can be housed at your fingertips and you're just picking and choosing depending on what the customer wants.
Okay, and what if I'm being devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
What if I am working in the middle of nowhere and there's no reception and they don't got Wi-Fi? How do you deal with that?
It's housed actually on your tablet or your desktop that you're working with. So the first time that you create an Engage presentation, you would need internet access to access it and download it to your device. But
Mhm.
when, after that's done, you can be completely offline. So yes, you can be in the middle of nowhere. You'll have access to all your Engage content without having to worry about connectivity issues.
Okay, that's great. It's kind of like how Company Cam, you can take your pictures and they'll upload once you got data again. That's definitely important with some of the contractors around the country. They work in the middle of nowhere, and they might live in the city, but if the storm hits out in the boonies, you're dealing with that. And we've dealt with that as far as like doing eagle views and stuff. You know, we'll know what the property looks like based off of what the insurance company does, and then you pull it up and the eagle views in the complete wrong area, and you got to give them information. And what I've actually found is Bing actually works better in the rurals than Google for some reason. You know.
Yeah, I've been in that same position before. I started in Virginia, and I remember going north, and all of a sudden I'm almost in West Virginia country. I've got half of a bar on my cell phone, and I have zero connectivity. But fortunately, with Engage, you don't have to worry about that.
That's awesome. All right. And you were gonna be sharing a video with us, right?
Yeah, I'd love to. Let me share my screen with you and just give you a quick idea of what you can expect with the process of working with Engage. You see my screen there, Jason?
Yep, we got it there.
Perfect. We exist really because we believe that every sales rep deserves a presentation that's going to help them close deals. And that's exactly what Engage does. Create an unlimited amount of, capturing presentations for your homeowner. Easily share that within your sales team so you can make sure that they always have the most up-to-date content. As colors and manufacturing changes, you want to be able to adjust that on the fly. And then lastly, the key really is that brings all that together is giving you data analytics to be able to measure who's using the presentations in the field and how much success that they're having with it. Incorporate dynamic photos and videos. Our customers are telling us that there's an 80% more likelihood of them buying if they're shown a video. Today's customer wants to be educated in the buying process. It's a little bit different, back in the day when your name was just good enough to kind of get you in the door and they heard about you and now they're willing to purchase. But today's buyer is a lot more educated. They've researched you. They know what materials are all about. They kind of have a general idea of how much things should cost per square or whatever it may be based on where they live. So now it's really about finding what makes you a little bit different from the competition, and Engage just kind of gives you that one leg up.
Nice.
We talked earlier, Jason, with regard to some of our partnerships. Having a partnership is great, but really at the end of the day, what we do is we help move the dial. We help people close more in the home. On a major level, we partner with Kohler. We do their presentations for their entire dealer network. On average, they're seeing a 10-point increase in close rate. One example that we have for one of their customers in Florida started out with us were about 17% on their close rate. Now they're up to 27.6%.
Nice.
Ridgetop Exteriors is an exterior remodeler. They're growing 12%. They're looking at actually about a 40% trajectory in terms of what that means to their revenue this year.
That's amazing.
It is, it's a great story, and one of the biggest ways that we get there is through our analytics. So think about this. Let's say that you've got a sales team and you've had 15 appointments this week that were run. You'll get data analytics on every single one of those appointments. Imagine being as a virtual ride along with your sales reps as they're going through from customer and customer. So first you'd see an overall view of the number of presentations that have been opened, but more specifically, you can see your specific sales rep, the date and time that they opened the presentation. In this case, the presentation was for the window sales called. They were in the getting started section for this much time. From there, they went over to window type, spent less than a second there. Installation was there less than 2 seconds. So now as a sales manager, when I have my one-on-one conversation with Charlie, it can be strategically focused as to how that appointment went with that homeowner. I can track it to whether or not that was a sale. And if it wasn't, well, how do I help him overcome some of those gaps and talk about that conversation to make sure that he's providing great value in the presentation that he has with every customer.
And are you guys either currently linking up with CRMs, or is that something that's in the works for in the near future with these analytics and stuff? So if there was a presentation and if it closed, you can send the thank you note, automatically, whether it's email or through the mail or both, and also the ones that didn't, you can reach out to them and say, hey, by the way, Mrs. Smith, thank you for your time. How could we have done, what do we do? And I know a lot of businesses, that's literally how they get better, is by finding out, okay, what is the reason you went with somebody else, or did you go with somebody else? We all know that sometimes people are just window shoppers, and especially now they have no idea how much stuff's going. I have a contractor we're talking to about working with here in Denver, and he does roofing and smoke damage and water damage, and he's like, he had a lady and she waited like a week. Well, doors went up like $40 a piece. And so the bid went up like $1,500 because of how big her house is and how many doors, and she's losing it. And it's like, you had it. Like, it's literally says it's good for 72 hours because now everything is changing so fast and everything. So, but no, being able to contact them. So, are you guys set up with the CRMs now, or is that in the works?
Yes, we are. So Engage has an open API, and assuming that CRM does as well, we'd be able to communicate with one another. One of the ways that we do that currently, just to, add on to your point with regard to what does that look like either before or after the sale, with Engage, you can actually send a presentation to a customer. We have had huge success with our pre-appointment confirmations, which is one of these. So it would be housed as a URL link that you would put in your CRM. So let's say that you're working, for example, with Job Nimbus and it's automated. Well, every time that appointment is booked, this email automatically gets sent out to the customer. They click on the URL link without even having Engage installed. They're able to interact with the presentations that you've sent them.
That's
So in
awesome.
this case, they can click on it and see who the sales rep is going to be coming out to meet with them. Nice picture and a bio. Walk them through what that process looks like when you're going to meet with them. What are some things that you want them to gather and think about before that appointment, just to create a little bit of sense of urgency and excitement, right? But also let them know what it's going to look like working with you after they hire you. What's that process look like? And
Nice.
then with the integration, let's say with Company Cam or some of the other technology tools are out there, showcase some jobs that you've done in their neighborhood to give them an idea of some of the quality of work that you're capable of doing.
Nice.
So as a sales rep, I would, let's say, send that out to my homeowner through my CRM. They know who I am, my bio and background before I even get to that door. The likelihood of that appointment sticking is a lot stronger than had I never confirmed it. And now when I'm there, we can just, go straight to business and talk about exactly the project that they're concerned about. That all linking happens through the CRM.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you guys have any plans of maybe setting up something where it would go out via text, since we all know that people are a lot less likely these days to open their emails?
Yes, indeed. And it's already there. I have two options when I send out the information to the customer. I can either send it via text or via email. In both
That's great.
instances, they'd be able to open this up and interact with it in a similar fashion.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's
And
game.
for example, when you open the presentation, it goes to a web page, or how does it open?
Correct. It opens up a URL page for them, and it looks just like this. They are able to view this on a website.
Nice.
Okay, nice.
So it's taking those hovers and that other stuff to the next level, because instead of it just showing a picture of a house with the stuff, this is a lot more lot better photography. And obviously, if you have your own, like you said, you can link that up with your company cam and so forth. But the pictures you guys have in here are obviously awesome because they're professional, based off of whoever the manufacturer is and everything like that. So
Yeah, and with all of our templates being customizable, you can either start from one of our existing or create one from scratch. But it will allow you to add your own pictures in there. If you're trying to, get that set up and want better pictures, use ours in the meantime until you're able to. But your own pictures are always going to tell the best story of obviously of your work. But the process of utilizing it is fairly simple.
okay. And do you guys have like an onboarding process to do a little bit of training and stuff for new clients? That's always a big thing, especially nowadays, because some of the businesses it's included, other ones oh, you're paying this fee to be, to get the training, or that's just part of it. You're paying this fee for the onboarding. So how does that work?
Very good. So we consider ourselves as an extension of the contractor's business. What we want to ensure is that they have a phenomenal experience with Engage that they can leverage that same thing with their customer. So we will be there for them to help them try to figure out, what exactly do they want as a storyline? Do they have something in existing, let's say in PowerPoint or maybe Keynote, that they're trying to bring over to Engage? How do we do that? Or do they need help kind of building that sales presentation to get them from point A to Z? So we do that assessment up front to try to figure out where they're at and where they want to go. And then by partnering with them, we'll have a number of working sessions if they want to create their own content to show them how to do that with one of our design team members. Otherwise, if they want us to do the design for them, we're able to do that as well. Just kind of depends on where they want to go with regard to the software and what they're looking to do.
Well, when you guys figure out how to show people tearing felt and they can feel it on an iPad, that'll be the next level. that used to be one of my that was like the slam dunk, is showing them, okay, here's normal drip edge, here's what we use on your gutters, da da da, this is the reason why, some pictures, and then the felt, okay, tear this, okay, now try and tear this synthetic felt. And the best is when you get some guy that's ripped and you can tell he goes to the gym 24/7 and and he can't do anything, and then he's like, okay, yeah, I want that on my house. The last guy didn't tell them anything. He's just, some guys have silver tongues, but honestly, showmanship is so much a part of selling. Also, it's so many things that are involved in sales. And this is just one great extra bullet, maybe even more than a bullet. Maybe it's a cannon.
Yeah, so I used to carry around a laminated $100 bill, and I would do that same thing. I would ask them to, this is what you have right now on your roof. It's felt paper, maybe a 15 or 30 pound, depending on what it is.
Mhm.
Have them tear it, and then do the same thing with the synthetic. And that would just be a fun game that I would do. Nobody ever tore the synthetic, obviously, but it does make it interactive. It makes it fun. And it makes them excited about what they're going to buy. I can't illustrate that in Engage, but probably the closest that I can get to is this. If we're looking at, for instance, showing a customer what it would look like to go through the process, I can show them, okay, here's what that install looks like from step 1, 2 to 10, right?
Mhm.
Otherwise, I can also even jump around here a little bit and say, well, let me talk to you about what your roof looks like today, potentially, with some of the jobs that we've done. Here's how we've transformed that. We went from a 3-tab to an architectural. These are some of our comparison slides that we do to show the client visually and have them start to imagine the potential and the possibility of what that'll look like. Or maybe we're looking at, a shingle versus metal roof, just to give them a slightly better perspective.
Nice.
Nice, and it looks good, right? When you drag it, it immediately
Yeah.
shows you don't need to turn to another image, Just drag it and you will see the difference. That's amazing.
Correct. And you fully incorporate video in here. Some of our clients decide to do the install as a video instead of a timeline format, just to give the client a different perspective as well. A lot of different ways that you can play around with Engage. Brand yourself and make sure that you're sticking out from the rest of the competition. And then more importantly, like I said, track the analytics to be sure that your sales reps are using it correctly in the field and you're getting the success and the ROI that you deserve.
Yep. Awesome. Like it. All right. Any other thoughts there, Mr.?
Yeah, one thing that I'll share is, I talked a little bit about as far as lift with regard to close rate.
Mhm.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on, however, also is opening up more cross-selling opportunities. With the presentation tool being very interactive, if I'm here talking to the homeowner about their roof, they now understand that all of these buttons do something.
Mhm.
And I can easily transition and say, oh, by the way, we also do gutters, right? I noticed that your gutters probably needed to be redone as I was walking up to the house. I know we're not here talking about it today, but I do want you to understand that that's part of what we offer. it opens up the opportunity for more cross sell. Remodeling Magazine told us obviously last year was a record in terms of the number of appointments that the industry saw. We're going to see a slight dip in that this year. So we got to make sure that we maximize every single opportunity, because we may not have as many at chances as at bat. And Engage definitely allows you to do that. Go back into that home that second time, or if you can do it and kill two birds with one stone in that first appointment and sell two products, it makes that conversation very easy.
Well, and you work with Mrs. Smith. You had a good experience. Now you have Engage. You can contact her and say, hey, you know what? I noticed these things, and can I send you something? And or are you available? Whether it's in home, Zoom, whatever. With this, you're able to do so many different things, and be able to show them that stuff, and then be able to reach out to them. So you can even do you probably could do something like a newsletter, hey, we just wanted to touch back and see how you're doing. It's been a year, and making sure you're happy, and blah blah blah. And by the way, here's a link, here's some stuff that you could look at on your house also, or something like that. There's different ways you can do that. So kind of like I have a, as far as contractors go, reaching out to them, when reaching out to your homeowners when the hail hits. I had one the other day that said, oh, well, you can't do that because that's marketing and blah, blah. I go, it's how you market. If you reach out to the homeowner after the hail hits or the windstorm and says, hey, we want to make sure that your roof's in good condition, that you're still under warranty, blah, blah, blah. It's a marketing call, but it's actually a warranty call, and you're able to do that. And you could do the same thing with this. Hey, by the way, we're checking to make sure you're good. But guess what? Here's some marketing material also, right? It's all about knowing the law and how to do it.
You're exactly right. It's interesting because I think as roofers in the industry, we probably don't do as great of a job as doing that than some of the folks in the services industry, like HVAC or plumbing, right? They're always sending stuff to their customers with regard to, making sure that your ducts are clean right before the season hits, winter season hits, and so forth. Wherein they're trying to get back into the door. They use Engage to help them do that. Link directly within the presentation, for example, to their Google reviews, and make it very interactive way for a customer to know more about their brand, feel a lot better about what they're buying, and just make that process a lot more seamless. So yes, you can definitely use this as as part of your drip marketing campaign.
Well, I think a part of it is, I was guilty of this for the most part. When you're in a market that you're getting hail every year, you don't care. And then like now we haven't had good hail in like 3 years. Now all of a sudden it's like, boy, I wish I would have been doing some of that. And plus half the time we were replacing half of their house anyways on a good storm. Like 2017, I was doing stucco, siding, windows, gutters, paint, like literally, like, I mean, a lot of contractors were just doing roofs. Well, their average ticket was 15. My average was 50 to 60 because I was doing everything on these jobs, and because of my background in supplementing, I was getting whole house siding paid for because I knew what was available, what wasn't. Hey, here's the code. This is, you have to do this, and getting those things handled. And because I knew about the siding, the windows, and everything, I was able to, without having all the books and everything, but hey, okay, I got all the siding paid for. Okay, you got steel siding, but we can put this really good vinyl siding with an insulated product in, and it's actually going to upgrade the values. Steel siding is great, except for when it comes to your heating and cooling bills, So, yeah, so I completely understand that. So, you guys that just sell roofs, if you don't get hail down the road, which it could happen because it happened to us. Even Derek with hail trace can't believe it that it's been like that the past few years. But look into expanding what you guys are doing, because Uh, and 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 to go back with that point is where there's a lot of these policies that are turning into ACV only and stuff. So it's more of like a retail market it's turning into. So they're getting like basically a discount, no different than if you get a car totaled out. If you have a $50,000 truck that you bought 10 years ago, you're getting like 20 grand for it. You're not getting 50 grand. And so you're going to have to either buy a vehicle for that, but you can't buy a roof for, half price or less. So getting your financing set up is huge. So if you're financing their roof, why not get some more stuff? Because guess what? The more money they're spending, the less jobs you have to do to make the same amount of money. It's like having 4 or 5 sales in one, you know?
Jason, you're right on point. What we've seen to be successful with those guys that are primarily insurance based and still using Engage, what they'll typically do is record a roof inspection via video, right? And they'll use that video and put it in their Engage presentation. So knock on the door, meet and greet the customer. They grant you the permission to jump on top of the roof and do an inspection. You flip your iPad over or whatever device that you're using and have them watch the video, right? So it's a video of a typical roof inspection. You're going up and doing the inspection. Now, when you come back down and you've got your photos, they're able to see what that process looked like because they're not going on the roof on top of the roof with you, right? But
Not
they understand the process.
It's usually,
You hope not.
usually a contractor or an old guy who's cleans his own gutters, hangs his Christmas lights, all that stuff. It does happen, but you're right, not very often. Although I did have one woman get up there. Do you mind if I go up? And I'm like, it's your house. You can do whatever you want, And I was like, and she was like a billy goat. I'm like, do you want to come inspect roofs with us? But yeah.
No, we don't want that. We don't want them hurting themselves, but
Yeah.
at least they're able to see the process and visualize it. And now when you come down off the ladder, you're going through the pictures and showing them, right, their problem areas with their roof and trying to create that sense of urgency. And then the next step that they do is really the education piece. This is what customers want to know. Well, what's the difference between ACV and RCV? What does that mean? And as they're working with you, what's the entire insurance process looks like? Everything from, getting the inspection check, the first check that they're going to get, the supplementing, right? And finally closing the project. Just visually, when you're able to show that and illustrate that to people, they retain it a lot better. And you find yourself answering less questions as to, okay, what are we doing next? Or the second point, and facilitate that process a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like also some of the CRMs, they let you have logins, for your clients to see what's going on the process. So you've already
Yes.
gone through it, and then they can see what's going on. Like, sometimes you're still going to get the phone calls, but you're going to get a lot less. People like to be interactive these days. That's why some people, they want a title or a t-shirt or something. A lot of these businesses, I'm laughing. I'm like, how do I get those people to work for me? They just want a t-shirt. But yeah, I mean, people are interactive. They're used to using gadgets. So them being able to see what's going on their project, and instead of just having an email, to actually have a login is huge. So being able to walk them through the process ahead of time, and then that says, oh, and by the way, we have a login for the, our CRM, so you can go through, you can see what's going on. You can know when your roof's getting ordered. I mean, you're going to get notified anyways, but you can log in and see what's going on. And with those CRMs, obviously, you're only sharing what you want to, and going from there. So if you want to get a hold of Ty, he can be reached at 214-239-9164. Call and text, correct?
Yes.
Or say your email because it's long.
Yeah, it's just T, my first initial, my last name, DIOURY at ingage.io. And engage is spelled with an I, not an E.
Yeah, we went over that earlier. We were talking at our marketing meeting. We were talking about different apps, and I go, oh, actually, I have a guy, awesome product. I go, I didn't get to talk to him too long, but we're doing a Facebook Live, and one of the managers down in Mexico City said, "Oh, the normal spelling." I'm like, "No," and I had to so,
I can confirm that.
like, no, not like
Yeah.
the ring, but you know. So, and if you want to get a hold of us to go over any questions you guys have with your supplements, any issues you're having, or estimates, you can contact me at 720-702-1938 or at jason@furtadolaw.solutions. So thank you again very much, Ty, and we look forward to getting together again in the future. Maybe we're planning on doing some lunch and learns hopefully this summer, depending on David's schedule. He keeps having to go to trial every week that he thinks he's going to have a week off or a couple days off. It's like, oh, here's another one. So it's good for business for the law firm, but yeah, it's one of those things. So, but once we get those rolling, we'll definitely be in touch with you guys.
Sounds great. Appreciate you guys having me around here today. Thanks.
All right, have a good one.
Have a good
Take it
one.
easy.